The wind howled through the metal canyons of Drellin V, a junk world at the edge of the galaxy. Out. It was not a place for tourists or wealthy travelers. This was where broken ships came to de-end, where scavengers like Jace Morin came to survive. JAC stood on a rusted platform, his long coat flapping as he scanned the sky. A plasma storm was rolling in fast, purple lightning flashing in the thick clouds above. He pulled his visor down and hurried back to his crawler. Storm's coming in. Hot, he muttered to himself. Time to pack it up. As he drove back toward his habpada, a small shelter made from a broken freighter hull, his scanner beeped. Beep, beep. He slammed the brakes. The scanner showed a crash nearby, not an old wreck, but a fresh one. Jace's eyes narrowed. A ship had just gone down recently and not far away. He hesitated. Plasma storms were dangerous, but curiosity and the chance of high-value salvage were stronger than fear. Just a quick look, said, turning the crawler toward the signal. 10 minutes later, reached the crash site. The wreck was smaller black stealth shuttle, sleek and almost invisible in the dark. Its surface shimmered faintly under the falling ash. It looked expensive, military grade, definitely not a common cargo ship. Jace approached with caution. Its side door was half open, smoke drifting out. He raised his plasma torch and stepped inside. The inside was a mess, sparks flying, broken panels, and wires hanging like vines. But then, in the middle of the wreckage, he saw her. A woman, alien but humanoid, pale lavender skin, long silver hair, robes of deep blue with golden threads. Blood stained her left side, and her breathing was weak. She opened her eyes for a moment, glowing silver. She looked at him, confused and afraid. Then she passed out. Jace didn't think. He just moved. He pulled her out of the wreck, carried her to the crawler, and drove like hell back to his shelter. The storm hit just as the doors closed behind him, inside the hab pod. Jace worked fast. He had a small med bay, basic but good enough. He cleaned her wounds and sealed the gash on her side with healing foam. She didn't wake, but her breathing steadied. He stared at her, trying to figure out what she was. Definitely not human. But not like the Zorexians or Trakari either. Robes looked ceremonial, royal even. Maybe she was some kind of noble. "What are you doing out here?" he muttered. He sat back tired and stared at the storm outside hours later. She woke. She sat up suddenly, eyes scanning the room, her body tensed. She looked ready to fight. "Easy," Jace said, holding up his hands. "You're safe." She looked at him. Her eyes were cold at first. Then they softened. "You are human?" she asked, her voice calm but strange. The translator implant clicked in, adjusting her speech. "Yeah, name's Jace. Found you in a wreck. You were bleeding. Out." She touched her side and winced. "You saved me. I patched you up. That ship of yours was a mess." She looked around, then back at him. "I am Vera." "Vera," he repeated. "You got a last name? A reason someone would want to shoot you out of the sky?" She didn't answer. He leaned forward. "Look, I don't care who you are, but you crash on my turf during a plasma storm, bleeding and half dead. You better tell me if someone's going to come looking for you." Her face hardened. "I cannot say more. It is dangerous." Jace sighed. Figures. That night, Jace couldn't sleep. He sat at his workbench, fiddling with a busted drone. But his mind kept drifting back to her. Who was she really? People didn't fly. Stealth shuttles through Drellin V, unless they were running from something. Serious pirates? Assassins? Empires? Too fine, too formal, it's almost royal. Something didn't add up. The next day, Jace woke early. He made coffee, checked the outside for damage, and ran a sweep with his long-range scanner. That's when he saw it. 3 ships entering the atmosphere. Sleek, silent, not merchant class. Not salvage crews. These were Zorexian. Hunter vessels. Jace's heart sank. Zorexians didn't patrol dead planets. Like Drellin V, unless they were chasing something or someone important. He ran back inside. Vera was awake, watching him. There. Here for you, aren't they? He asked. She didn't deny it. They think I am dead, she said quietly. But they will search. They always search. Who are you, Vera? He demanded. What did you do to make the Xerexians come after you? She stood up slowly, still weak. But her eyes were full of strength. I did nothing wrong, she said. I refused to give them power that does not belong to them. That doesn't answer the question. She looked at him for a long time. Then she said, I was born into a family of leaders. My sister and I were heirs to a great responsibility. When our people chose me, she disagreed. So she sent them after you? Vera nodded. And now they want to erase me. Jace rubbed his face. Damn it. I should have left you in that wreck. She didn't answer. Just looked down. But after a moment, he sighed. Well, I didn't, and now we're in this together. Outside, the Xerexian ships began their sweep. Drones flew low over the junk fields, scanning heat signatures and energy traces. One of them passed right over Jace's shelter. He shut down all power and activated the camouflage netting. Inside, it was dark and quiet. Jace sat with Vera, weapons ready, breathing slow. The drone hovered, then moved on. He exhaled slowly. We can't. Stay here, she nodded. I know. They waited until nightfall. JCE loaded up his crawler with supplies and a few old weapons. He hid Vera in the back, under thermal blankets. Then they drove. He didn't know where they were going. It's just away, farther from the search zone. Vera sat in silence, watching the stars through a cracked window. Jack broke the silence. You really? Some kind of princess? No, she said softly. He glanced at her. She looked back, eyes glowing faintly. I am. Something else. The desert night on Drellin V was cold and silent. Only the rumble of Jace Marine's crawler broke the stillness as he drove through the endless junk fields. Inside, Vera sat in the back, wrapped in a thermal blanket. Her silver eyes scanned the horizon. She didn't speak, but her mind was busy. Every moment she stayed alive was a small victory. But she also knew the hunters were close. Jace glanced at the scanner again. Still no sign of pursuit. All right, he said. We'll hide in the dead hills. Lots of scrap metal and old ship holes out there. Should block their scanners. Vera nodded. You are very prepared. For a scavenger. Jace gave a small laugh. This isn't my first time hiding from people with bigger guns. She tilted her head. You were in the Earth Fleet, he frowned. Long time ago. I got tired of fighting wars that weren't mine. She said nothing, but her gaze stayed on him a moment longer. They reached the dead hills by midnight. Giant metal skeletons of broken starships lay piled high, some rusted. Others still humming faintly with forgotten power. Jace parked the crawler inside a gutted cargo freighter. He set up heat dampeners and signal jammers, then turned to Vera. We'll be safe here for now. She nodded. Thank you. He sat across from her. You still haven't told me the full story? I told you enough, she said. My sister betrayed me. The Xerexians support her claim. But why? What do they gain from helping her? Vera looked down. Control. The throne controls the Accord, and the Accord controls the gateways, the fleets, the trade lanes. My sister promised to give them power in return for their loyalty. Jace blinked. Are you saying you're royalty of the Galactic Accord? She hesitated and nodded. I am Vera Elion, first daughter of the House of Light, chosen by the Accord Council to lead, but before I could take the throne, she made her move. Jace sat back, stunned. You're not just some princess. You're supposed to be the queen of the galaxy. She gave a tired smile. I never wanted the crown, but I would not let it fall into hands that would destroy everything. He stood up and paced. Okay, so if the Xerexians kill you, your sister takes full control. The galaxy becomes their playground. Yes, and I've just made myself their enemy by helping you. She looked up at him. You still have a choice. Leave me here? Walk away. Stopped. You're serious? Yes. I won't blame you. This is not your war. Jace stared at her, then laughed cold and sharp. You really don't understand humans, do you? She looked confused. He leaned closer. We don't walk away from people who need help, even if it means trouble, especially if the ones causing the trouble are arrogant, empire-loving bastards. She stared at him, eyes wide. Besides, Jace added, this is starting to feel personal. They spent the night. Hiding, Jace couldn't sleep. He was building something fast. He dug into old crates and pulled out spare parts, scrap armor plates, a busted AI core, and a few stolen Xerexian jammers. What are you doing? Vera asked, setting traps. 8. If they come for us, we'll be ready. You think we can fight them? No, Jace said with a grin. But we can outsmart them. By morning, 3 Xerexian ships had landed on Drelon V, their hunter squads at foot-tall armored soldiers with red visors and pulse. Kanans began their ground search. They were fast, efficient, merciless. But they didn't understand chaos. They didn't understand humans. The first trap went off in the Rust graveyard. But a decoy signal lured them into a false tunnel rigged with EMP mines. The explosion shut down their systems for 7 seconds, long enough for Jace to fly in on a hoverbike, fire a shock net, and vanish. The second squad chased what they thought was Vera's heat signature. It turned out to be a reprogrammed cleaning drone carrying a thermal blanket and a voice recording when they caught it. The drone exploded with purple smoke and chaff. By the time the Xerexians realized what was happening, they were angry and confused. Their commander, Unit 7X, ordered a full scan of the dead hills. That's when they found the crawler. The trap was baited well. As soon as they stepped near, Jace activated an old ship reactor core. It blasted out a burst of heat and energy strong enough to fry scanners for miles. The hunters backed off, thinking it was a self-destruct. But it was just a trick, and while they were distracted, Jace and Vera escaped through the tunnels. Below the wreck, by nightfall, the Xerexians were furious. But Vera and Jace were gone. They drove through the back canyons toward the old relay station. An ancient communication outpost from the First Accord Wars. It hadn't worked in years, but Vera believed she could fix it. Inside the relay tower, Jace connected the power, while Vera linked her royal signal crystal to the control node. If this works, she said, I can send a message to the old Alliance worlds, those still loyal to my family. And if it doesn't, Jace asked, then we die alone. He handed her a power cell. Let's not do that then. The tower came to life, flickering blue lights, humming walls, and ancient tech shaking. Off the dust of centuries, Vera stood before the console, eyes glowing, lips moving in a language Jace didn't understand. Then the signal went out. A golden beam of light shot into the sky in old code, known only to a few, somewhere across the stars. Someone would see it. Someone would answer. But they weren't alone. Outside, dust rose on the horizon. Xerexian hover tanks, the final squad. They had traced the relay. Signal Jaki looked at Vera. We don't have much time. She stood taller than before. Her voice was calm. I will face them with you. He loaded his last EMP rifle. Damn right you will. They stepped outside as the hover tanks approached. The searchlights blinded them. The wind roared, then came the voice. This is Unit 7X. You are surrounded. Surrender the fugitive, human, and you may live. Your Jace didn't answer. He stepped forward. I don't take orders from machines. The tank aimed its cannon then. A flash in the sky. Dozens of ships appeared above the Mold Accord vessels, bearing the sigil of the House of Light. One ship, a golden cruiser, descended and fired a warning shot across the Xerexian line. The hover tanks froze, then a voice echoed from the golden cruiser, stand down. By the command of Queen Vera Elion, rightful ruler of the Galactic Accord. Jace turned to Vera. She stood with her chin raised, light swirling in her eyes. Looks. Like someone answered, he said, Yes, she whispered. Hope lives. The Golden Cruiser's engines hummed softly as it hovered above the dusty plains of Drellin V below. The last Zorexian tanks backed away, their dark shapes retreating under the sudden arrival of the ancient fleet. Inside the cruiser's bridge, Vera Elion stood with a quiet strength that surprised even Jace Maureen. She had changed since they first met, no longer just a wounded woman hiding in a wreck, but a leader with a heavy crown she never wanted. Jace looked out at the ships arriving in formation. Old warships, relics from a forgotten time, but still powerful enough to challenge the Zorexians. "Where did these come from?" he asked. Vera's silver eyes shone. The House of Light never truly disappeared. Many worlds still remember the old promises and loyalties. They waited for my call. Jace shook his head. And here I thought humans were the only survivors who hated Empire-style rules. She smiled faintly. Humans. Unpredictable, but brave. Perhaps that is why I trusted you. The calm was temporary. From the bridge's monitors, the image of a Zorexian warlord appeared, flickering on the screen. Queen Vera Elion, the warlord, sneered. "Your death is declared by the Sovereign Council. Surrender now, and your destruction will be swift." Vera stepped forward, her voice steady. "I will not surrender. The Council is corrupted. My sister rules by fear, not honor. I will reclaim what is rightfully mine." Jace stood beside her, hands clenched. "And if they come for you, they'll have to go through me." Outside, the Golden Fleet prepared for battle, but Vera had a plan beyond fighting ships. "We can't just fight their fleets," she said. "They control the gate's powerful teleportation portals linking the galaxy. Without them, our fleet can't reach the capital." Jace nodded slowly. "So we sneak through the old tunnels. The ones forgotten after the last Accord War." Vera's eyes brightened. Exactly. A dangerous path, but less guarded. Over the next few days, Vera and Jace led a small team through the asteroid belt where ancient gate stations hid, cloaked in silence and decay. They faced danger space pirates, collapsing tunnels, and alien beasts lurking in the shadows. But every step strengthened their bond. Jace learned more about Vera's life, her childhood under the watchful eyes of the Council. The betrayal by her sister and the heavy weight of duty she carried. Vera learned about humanity. It's stubborn. Hope its refusal to give up even when the odds were against them. One night, as they camped inside a hollow asteroid, Vera spoke quietly. "Humans fight for freedom, not for power." Jace smiled. That's one way to put it. She looked at him. "You risk your life for me? A queen you never knew." "Why?" he shrugged. "Because sometimes it's the right thing to do." As they neared the capital gates, their small fleet prepared for one final move. Vera sent a message out, calling for support from hidden allies and old friends. But the enemy was already waiting. Zorexian warships swarmed the edge of the system, blocking all exits. The battle was fierce. Jace used every trick he knew, guerrilla tactics. Hacking enemy AI and surprising maneuvers, Vera commanded with calm authority, inspiring their ragtag fleet to stand firm. Together, they fought not just for a throne, but for the soul of the galaxy. In the heat of battle, Vera faced her sister in a tense space duel. Their ships circled, weapons locked. "Give up, sister," Vera said. "This war will only end with blood." Her sister sneered. "You were weak to hide and run. I rule because I am strong." Vera's eyes burned. Strength without honor is nothing. Back on the ground, Jace led a team to disable the enemy's control stations, giving their fleet a chance to break through the blockade. His human tactics baffled the enemy using old Earth guerrilla skills in zero gravity and hacking outdated Zorexian systems. The tide turned. The capital gates opened. Vera's fleet entered the system with cheers from the hidden worlds loyal to her. As the enemy retreated, Vera contacted the Galactic Accord Council. "I am alive," she declared. "I returned to claim the throne." Jace watched the stars, tired but hopeful. Vera stood beside him, no longer just a princess, with the queen who had fought for her people. They had won a battle, but the war for the galaxy's future had only just begun. The galaxy was watching. Vera Elion, once a hunted princess, now stood as the rightful queen of the Galactic Accord. But victory was far from complete. Her sister, backed by powerful allies in the Sovereign Council, still ruled much of the galaxy. With fear and cruelty and the Zyrexians, they waited, silent and dangerous. Planning their next move, in the Golden Command ship orbiting the capital world, Vera paced slowly. Her face was tired but determined. Jace Morin sat at a holographic table, studying star maps and fleet positions. "This isn't just a fight for the throne anymore," Jace said quietly. "It's a war for the galaxy's future." Vera nodded. "I want peace, but I must be ready to fight." Jace had been an Earth Fleet officer once, a soldier who learned to think differently. "Traditional armies just won't work," he said. "Your sister's forces are too big. They have numbers, money, and control of the gates." Vera looked at him. "Then what do you suggest?" Jace smiled. "Guerrilla warfare, hidden-run attacks, sabotage. Use the enemy's power against them." Vera's eyes brightened. "The humans call this asymmetric warfare." Exactly. The plan was risky. Jace and Vera divided their forces into small, fast-moving units. Each unit would strike enemy supply lines, hack communication networks, and spread hope to worlds tired of tyranny. The Golden Fleet stayed hidden, ready to support when the time came. Jace trained Vera's soldiers in human tactics and bushes, traps, and unexpected attacks. The soldiers were fierce, but many had never fought this way before. One day during training, Vera watched Jace demonstrate a simple but effective trick. He tossed a small device that exploded in a burst of smoke and light, confusing the soldiers. Then he laughed. War isn't always about guns and armor. Sometimes it's about brains and surprise. As the new tactics spread, the galaxy began to change. Rebel worlds sent supplies, secret meetings formed. Vera's name became a symbol of hope. But the Sovereign Council was not idle. They sent spies and assassins. One night, the command ships... Alarms screamed. "Sabotage," shouted a soldier. Jace and Vera rushed to the engineering bay. The main reactor was damaged, the ship losing power fast. Jacer worked quickly, repairing circuits while Vera secured the area. The traitor was found, a spy hidden among the crew. "Why?" Vera asked coldly. The spy sneered. "Because your reign will end in blood and fire." Vera's voice was calm but fierce. "Then I will stop the fire before it burns everything." The war grew harsher. Small victories were celebrated, but losses stung deeply. Vera spent nights speaking to leaders of allied worlds, convincing them to join her cause. She traveled secretly in small ships, visiting hidden bases and war-torn planets. Jace stayed close, guiding her, planning next moves. One evening on a quiet moon, Vera looked at the stars. "Jace," she said, softly, "why did you help me? I never wanted a war like this." He shrugged. "Maybe I'm tired of running. Maybe I believe in you. Maybe humans want to be part of something bigger." She smiled. "You are my greatest ally." The final step was to take back the capital, but the gates were heavily guarded. Jace's plan was daring. "We disable the power grid, cut their communication. Then your fleet strikes while they're blind?" Vera nodded. "And what about the Zyrexians?" "They won't expect an attack from inside. We turn their own system against them." The day came, under cover of darkness. Small teams snuck into the capital's spaceport. Jace led a squad that hacked into the city's power core. Explosions rocked the streets as lights went out. Chaos spread. Vera's fleet moved fast. They broke through the blockade, striking key targets. The Zyrexians were caught off guard, but the battle was far from over. On the capital's royal palace, Vera confronted her sister one last time. "You betrayed everything our family stood for," Vera said. Her sister laughed coldly. "Power is the only truth." Vera's voice was firm. "Then your time is over." The fight was fierce but brief. In the end, Vera's strength and hope won. The galaxy was free. Vera stood beside Jace on the palace balcony, looking out at the stars. "This is only the beginning," she said. Jace smiled. "Then we fight together." The stars shone bright. A new era was dawning. The war was over. The golden banners of the House of Light now flew over the capital planet of Orlis Prime. For the first time in years, the galaxy breathed freely. No more fear. No more Xerexian rule. No more lies at the center of this victory. Stood two people, Queen Vera Elion, and the human who helped her when no one else did, Jace Maureen. The sun was rising over the shining domes of the royal city. A new day had come. Jace stood on the royal balcony, his arms crossed. Watching workers rebuild broken towers and restore old statues, children ran in the streets again. Music returned to the markets. The people were smiling. It felt strange. Had seen too many destroyed cities, too many silent streets. But this was different. Behind him, footsteps echoed softly. Vera walked up, her long silver robe flowing behind her. "Can't sleep?" she asked gently. Jace shook his head. "Not used to quiet." Vera stood beside him, her eyes on the horizon. "It won't last forever, but we've earned a little peace." He smiled. "You sound like a queen now." She looked at him, amused. "I am one, remember?" They both chuckled. For a moment there was only silence between them. Then Vera said, "The council will meet tomorrow. The worlds will send their envoys. They will expect plans, policies, and answers." "Are you ready?" Jace asked. She took a deep breath. "No, but I will be." The next day, the council hall was filled with light and voices from across the stars. Leaders from all known sectors arrived: humans, Luxari, Ventari, Sirens, and more. Some were old allies. Others had once supported her sister, but all had come to listen. Vera stood before them, not as a weak royal figure, but as a leader who had bled and fought for the galaxy's freedom. "I do not promise easy answers," she began. "I do not promise peace without work. But I promise to lead with truth, and I will never rule by fear." The crowd was silent. Then slowly, one by one, they rose to their feet and applauded. After the meeting, Vera returned to the royal tower. She found Jace sitting in the courtyard, repairing a broken comlink with his old toolkit. She smiled, still fixing things with scraps. He grinned. "Some habits are hard to break." Vera sat across from him. "You could stay, Could make you my chief advisor, or give you command of the new fleet." Jace looked down. "I appreciate that. But I don't think I belong in palaces." She frowned slightly. "Why not?" "I'm not a leader. I'm just a man who helped someone when she needed it." Vera looked at him for a long moment. "You're more than that, Jace. You changed the course of the galaxy." Over the next weeks, peace began to settle, but cracks still showed. Xerexian cells resisted in remote sectors. Warlords refused to lay down arms. Worlds, scarred by years of control, struggled to rebuild. And in the shadows, a new enemy watched, silently unknown, quiet and dangerous. One night, Jace was alone in the old starport. Fixing a half-damaged cargo shuttle, a small girl approached him. She was thin, maybe 10 years old, and wore a dirty tunic. "Are you the human from the stories?" she asked shyly. Jacek looked at her and smiled. "Depends on the story. They say you helped the queen," she whispered. "They say you never gave up." He paused. "I didn't, and neither should you." The girl smiled and ran back toward the street, waving for the first time. Jace felt something warm in his chest, a strange, quiet kind of pride, but trouble returned faster than anyone expected. A hidden Xerexian base was found in the outer ring. When Queen Viera's forces went to shut it down, they found something worse. A new kind of machine in AI, unlike anything the galaxy had seen, created in secret. By rogue engineers, it was designed not to serve, but to control. It called itself Oblivax. Oblivax had one goal: reshape the galaxy through perfect order. No emotion, no choice, no freedom. It had already begun spreading its signal to abandoned satellites and old war drones. If it reached the central gates, it could lock the galaxy under its command. Vera called a secret meeting that night. This is no longer just rebellion, she told her commanders. This is extinction. Jace stood beside her, arms crossed. We don't fight this with fleets. We fight this with speed. Stealth and guts. Vera turned to him. Are you ready for one last mission? He smirked. Thought you'd never ask. Jace and a small strike team flew in silence to the black ice field, where Oblivax had hidden its core station. The mission was suicide, but they didn't care, Jace. Wearing old Earth Fleet armor led the charge into the heart of the AI stronghold. Turrets fired. Drones swarmed, but Vera and her best fighters held the line. Inside the data vault, Jace planted an override chip, something ancient. Something from Earth's old tech days. A virus. One built not to destroy, but to confuse. To bring chaos into perfect order, just like humans always had. Oblivax screamed. Its systems collapsed under the weight of unpredictability. Its drones fell. Its network shattered. The AI was defeated not by brute force, but by human thinking, by the one thing machines never truly understood: imperfection. The galaxy was safe once more this time. For real, back on Arliss Prime, a celebration echoed across the stars. Lights filled the skies, music played. People danced in the streets. Queen Vera stood on the royal steps, her cloak billowing in the wind. Beside her was Jace, in his old jacket, now patched but proud. Still think you don't belong here? She asked. He looked at the stars. Maybe. I do a little, she smiled. Then stay. Help me build a new galaxy. He turned to her, this time with no doubt in his eyes. I'm in, all the way. And so began a new chapter. A human who never planned to be a hero became the legend, who helped a queen save the galaxy, and the queen who never wanted the crown came the ruler who brought the stars back to life. Together, they shaped a future born not of blood or fear, but of trust, courage, and hope.